It's another brighter day in the neighborhood. I'm your host, Angela Jones, and I'd ask you to welcome with me today, Gina Miller. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad that the weather is getting a lot better.
Oh, warmer and less wind.
Well, that's the one thing everybody, when I'm out traveling out of state, which I am now, where it's our sort of inaugural mobile show, I suppose, and I appreciate you joining us for that. Everybody always comments, oh, Colorado's wonderful, but it's just too cold. And I always tell them it's a dry cold, but that
Exactly.
doesn't seem to matter to anybody. I actually really enjoy Colorado winters, but I'm always excited when it's spring.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Me too.
So why don't you tell me what your favorite springtime activities are?
Oh gosh, besides working, I like riding my horse. I'm not a cowboy by any means, but I have a horse and I like riding on the weekends, like riding in the evenings. And that's kind of what is my stress release. I also love cooking.
So your horse, like what type of horse do you have?
We have quarter horses.
Oh, really? So you have more than one?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, tell me about a quarter horse. And I happen to have a little bit of a background with quarter horses in Tennessee, but I don't know that everybody knows what a quarter horse is or how unique they are.
Yeah, it's just a breed of horse. I mean, my he was a rodeo guy. His son was a PRCA rodeo. My husband used to run the Pike Speaker Bus Rodeo, which I'm sure everybody in the community has heard of. And it's just an easy going. You can do all kinds of things on a quarter horse.
Right. And and you got involved doing quarter horses with your husband?
No, you're going to find this funny. I moved to New York City in 1997 because I wanted to work there. And I actually bought my first horse living in New York City and boarded him in New Jersey. And he was a saddlebred, which is a different breed of horse. So that I was a little girl. I grew up relatively, I wouldn't say poor, but we couldn't afford a horse. And I always wanted a horse.
I heard a sort of a funny thing the other day, and it used to be that, rich people had, cars and poor folks had horses. And now the script is flipped.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Everybody's got a car and only the rich people have horses.
Yeah. Horses are expensive.
So there's a couple things that you've talked about, you enjoy working as much. And I want to mention you're with Kaiser Advertising, and Kaiser is your prior name before you got married.
Yes.
And became Miller, right?
Right. Yeah. I started Kaiser Advertising in 2007. Funny story. A friend of mine owned the agency I was working for, and then he left, and the new gal that bought it didn't like me and fired me. Whatever.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, and so I started my own agency, and it was a blessing.
Right. And what type of advertising does Kaiser Advertising handle?
Well, we do what I call traditional, which is the radio, TV, some print, but I'm getting into the digital because that's kind of the new thing, has been the new thing. So that's how I kind of work it, is trying to do what's best for the client, whether it be traditional, digital, what have you.
So billboards and buses and all of those, urinal cakes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't, there's something for everybody, but you can't spend the money on all of it.
Right, exactly. I think there's, absolutely that digital space is super important, but I really do think that it's sometimes when everybody abandons the traditional, that the new opportunity actually exists in the traditional.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I remember when the social media and all the digital started coming around, I would tell my clients, and even satellite, when satellite was 20 years ago,
Mhm.
It's still not, there's still going to be people that aren't going to be that. They aren't going to be on the digital. They're not going to be on the satellite. It's still, if you look around, traditional's still around. It's
Right, and I
still
think,
involved. Yes.
oh, absolutely, and kind of depending on your demographic.
Of course. Of course.
You know, I think, what's your favorite, what is your favorite traditional form of media advertising at this juncture?
I hate it. That's a hard question for me. Because I'm one that also kind of flips through the commercials.
Oh, okay.
But I think my favorite is still radio. I think there's still people, they drive to work every day and they don't have satellite or they don't have Sirius. I'm saying satellite, and they still
Right.
have to listen to that. The younger generation I know is more digital and Pandora and that, but I
Mhm.
still think radio and billboards. You still there's people driving, commuting, and the billboards they see.
Oh, absolutely.